Bună ziua, bine ați venit. So today we are going to have a look at a couple of museums. The first one behind me is the Palace of Fine Arts, Palatul Jean Mihai, and we saw that on our tour of Craiova. We're going to try and focus, if they'll let me film inside, which I hope they will, we're going to try and focus on a couple of artists and a sculptor. Here's one of the artists, Aman, who is a native of Craiova and paints very much in the French style. Studied in Paris, as many Romanian artists did, and we're going to have a look at his work. The other artist is Grigorescu, who paints again in the French style, L'École de Barbizon. And these two artists, you could say, were at the height of the modern painting in Romania when they came back. The other artist, sculptor we're going to look at is Constantin Brâncuși, who was a native of, well, not of Craiova, but he did live here initially, originally from Hobița in Gorj County. And we're going to have a look, if we can, at some of his works of art. They're not all originals, because some of the originals are in the Palace of Fine Arts in Bucharest, but you'll get a good view. If you want to know more about Brâncuși, then have a look below. I'll put a link to an article that I co-authored in a previous existence, and you can have a look at that. It's free and it's online at issue.com. Behind me is the most modern part of this building. It's meant to represent the work of Brâncuși, and it's a glass sculpture that was erected late last year, and as you can see, they're just finishing the garden around it. Okay, so without further ado, let's go inside. So here we are inside here we are in the center, and you can see how extraordinary the beauty of this building is. And we'll go through here. A lot of sculptures in this hallway, and a more modern exhibition here. But we're going to go and try and have a look for Aman and Grigorescu. You can see the very intricate carving. In fact, when Brâncuși first came to Craiova, he worked as a dishwasher in a restaurant and did some sculpting, made some chairs for a restaurant called Casa Zamfirescu. Here we are, going up this very ornate staircase, which is rather special. And this is where we're going to find the Romanian painters, artists. What a fantastic ceiling we've got there. Right? Let's see. 17th century. Ah, okay, typical style from Wallachia. Rather exquisite, beautiful little cabinet with inlaid wood. We're looking for Aman and Grigorescu. Aici. Mersi. Bună dimineața. Ah, aici. Super. So we found the room for Aman, after whom the library is named in Craiova. You can see the style, French style. Rather exquisite. And the great Victor Mihai Vitaz receiving Turkish ambassadors with gifts. Michael the Brave, we would say in English. Continue. And now we're looking for Grigorescu. Bună dimineața. Este sala Grigorescu? Ah, mersi. So here we are, and we've got Nicolae Grigorescu and his École de Barbizon, a different style, perhaps one of the fathers of modern Romanian painting. He returned, and these are scenes of his native land, Sinaia, where the castle is at Pereșoara. And here we have his French influence, the paysage din Barbizon, landscape at Barbizon. And you can see the beginnings of modernity in his work. And then finally, some more landscapes of a more rustic, traditional nature. A very famous painting, Carcu Boy, a wagon with oxen. Every room here is tremendously impressive, and they've got a rather nice auditorium. You can see the chandelier, the wall of mirrors. It really has been restored to an extremely high standard. Now we're heading back to the ground floor, and we'll try and have a look at the Brâncuși sculpture. Foarte impresionant. Brâncuși acum, da. Oh, and here we are in the Brâncuși room, and his famous plaster where he strips off the skin to reveal the body of a man, called the écorche in French, écorche in Romanian, and this was one of his first pieces. We talked about the chairs that he sculpted at the Casa Grigorescu, and here's an unusual little chair with the face of a child on the top. Pride. Plaster of Vitellius, the emperor, and one of his most famous works in bronze, the head of a child, cap de copie. You can see the way they're displayed in this gallery. They used the marble, which is in opposition to the dark bronze. Oh, then perhaps the masterpiece, the kiss. Brâncuși was trained in Paris and worked for about 2 weeks with Rodin. And you'll know Rodin's Kiss. This is very different. This is the beginning of modern sculpture. And we'll talk about his sculpture park in Târgu Jiu a bit later. And another famous Mademoiselle Forbani, which again he did in Paris after he met her. Very modern. He was a friend of Modigliani, Picasso, Eric Satie. He moved in artistic circles at the beginning of the 20th century. And finally, the torso. Okay. I think that will do, and we'll wrap it up there. So, that concludes our visit to the Palatul Jean Mihai, and I hope you enjoyed that. A little bit of trouble initially, where the guy said I'm not allowed to film, and then I told him, well, it's for a personal vlog, so is that all right? There's always a way around problems in Romania. You find Romanians are generally very welcoming, and it really is an impressive art gallery. Okay, we're going to try and head to the Casa Banie now, which is the Museum of Ethnology, really, teaching us about the Oltenian region. You might have noticed in there I was followed around by a host of warders, as it were. That tends to be a feature of museums in Romania. They think you're there to destroy the collections or to steal something, so they track your every step. But hey, that's life. Okay, so we'll meet again when I've found where Casa Banie is, which is one of the oldest buildings in Craiova as well. So we found it. It's only about 8 minutes walk from the art museum, and here it is, Casa Banie. And we'll see if we're going to have any trouble filming in here. Museum of Ethnography. Very historic building, as you can see. And rather impressive. And I certainly won't be paying 127 lei to film, so we won't be filming. But we'll walk around the outside and have a look at it. From here you can probably see the couple of churches. Many churches in Craiova. Probably the most famous, Madonna Dudu or Svin Dumitru. So we'll head back after that rather disappointing piece of news. How much is 127 lei? Well, it's 127 lei that I can spend on something better. So I'm sorry about that. But you've seen one museum today, which was actually free. Museums are, that museum, the art museum, is free on the first Wednesday of every month. And we just happened to be the first Wednesday of this month, so we got lucky. You get lucky, you get unlucky. And I'll show you some other things in the centre as we walk back. You might notice that the signs are bilingual in Craiova. So for example, we've got a sign here showing us the Museo de Arta, Art Museum, Centru, downtown, and Museo Oltenia Museum. And I think that's because the mayor decided to modernise the city, and she was hoping to win the European City of Culture, but sadly Craiova didn't win that. To my left you can see Madonna Dudu Church and the football stadium shimmering in the distance. The Stadion Obramentu, which is one of the finest structures, modern structures. Unfortunately they had trouble with the grass and had to re-turf it late last year. We're heading back towards the centre. The Oltenian Museum is down on the left, and the modern building ahead of me is the ISJ, the Inspectorate of Schools Inspectorate. A little bit like the French system, inspectors have an enormous amount of responsibility and power in the Romanian educational system. We're heading back towards the main centre. Rather ugly building on the left is where I have my Romanian lessons. I'm 2 lessons in, and I've got 2.5 years before I can apply for Romanian nationality, so I need to make progress. left we've got one of the great schools of Craiova, the Liceu Carol I, Colegiul Național Carol I. Carol I being the first king imported in the 1860s, and there he is on his pedestal in front of the school named after him. And the other school in this block straight ahead of us is Elena Cuza, which specialises, I'd say it specialises in languages, well known for its language teaching. I was telling you about Brâncuși, born in Hobița, little village. He ran away, he got beaten a lot by his parents, ran away, came to Craiova. His talent was spotted and he was sponsored. I went to the College of Arts and then went to Bucharest, where he studied further, and then he went to Paris. The legend has it via Munich. He walked from Munich to Paris. Whether that's true or not, who knows. Worked with Rodin for 2 weeks and then left, saying he couldn't flourish in that atmosphere because Rodin was just too great and would have influenced him too much. His sculpture park in Târgu Jiu, which is in Gorj County, is well worth a visit. It contains 3 pieces. The Kissing Gate, which is a gate which has some of the elements of the kiss that we just saw. The Table of Silence, a round table surrounded by 12 chairs which look like hourglasses, and perhaps they represent the 12 apostles. The Table of Silence. And then finally the endless column, an enormous column which raises up towards the sky and is built to commemorate the widows of the war dead in 1918. If you're near Târgu Jiu, I recommend you go and visit those. So we're well on the way home now, and nice sunny day. We're walking past a military installation, so I probably shouldn't film it too long. It's actually a school for military cadets, and they're building a new garrison for, I think it's going to be for foreign soldiers who are based in Romania. There are several countries who have a military presence in Romania, the most famous being the Americans, who have a big air base near Constanța by the Black Sea. But there are other nationalities here, because obviously Romania stands in a pivotal location in Europe, especially at the current stage. So at the end there we've got new barracks being built to house the troops. Some classic Romanian parking. If you're in a wheelchair, forget about coming here, because it would be almost impossible to get past. Now we're heading back to my street, my block. I hope you enjoyed the visit today, and if you have, click subscribe, put a comment, and I'll get back to you. Thank you very much. Goodbye.